So, if you know me or this channel, you know a couple of things to be true. I like musicals, and I love Ratatouille. Now, I know half of everyone will turn this off, like from the word go, because I'm talking about a TikTok musical, but I want to try to bring some perspective to the conversation that may or may not be out there much. I love Ratatouille, I love musicals, I really dislike TikTok. But what do I think of Ratatouille, the TikTok musical? Is it good? Is it the worst thing ever made? Does it destroy Ratatouille, killing the movie forever? Uh, we'll see. Also, I told you my next video would be semi-Pixar related, and the next one kind of will be too. So, my mom, knowing how much I like Ratatouille and being interested in it herself, ended up buying me these tickets to watch for Christmas, and I was actually super excited. I knew it probably wasn't going to be very good, but it was something new related to two things I love quite a bit. Now, at the time, I thought they were actually going to do this on a stage, which I'll get to later, but we all sat down on the couch, and after a little bit of confusion on how to get the live stream going, we turned on Ratatouille, the TikTok musical. And it was interesting.
Don't waste your whiskers on dreaming, trying to see life as I do.
I think surprisingly there's a lot of good in this musical. The songs alone are actually really well written for the most part, besides, the whole Remy the Ratatouille thing. And I enjoyed almost all of them and would have loved to see them on stage. They were energetic, fun, and they told the story of whatever they were supposed to tell really well. After I watched this, I had like 5 of the songs stuck in my head for like the next week, which is actually really impressive for only hearing them once. The other thing I really liked about this was the casting. Pretty much every actor that got to play these characters actually worked super well with that character. Overall, I would say my least favorite casting was Titus Burgess as Remy, but I still think it worked really well in the context of the show, and I think he did a really good job. I love that they got Bertrand to play Gusteau. It works so well. Also, those of you who don't know, he played Horton in Seussical on Broadway, a show that I have actually performed myself. Andrew Fieldman, who actually played Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, was like literally a perfect linguini and really captured the awkwardness, but also that like almost yelling like thing that he does where he's kind of on the edge. And the list goes on for actors who just really worked well for these roles, like Wayne Brady as Django and Ashley Park as Colette, but honestly, in terms of real standout things, that's where it stops. The songs were great and super fun to hear and watch. Most of the actors really brought these characters to life in a cool new way, and I loved that side of things. Like, I really loved that side of things. But that's about it.
You're my brother. I love you. But you gotta stop living in the clouds. I just come back down to reality and enjoy the sweet things in life.
Now, there's a lot of what you could call good or bad in this show. It's all extremely subjective, so take both of these sections with a grain of salt and make sure to listen to the end because I kind of talk about that a little bit. And these are all just my opinions. But that being said, man, this does not look good in the slightest. Remember I said I thought this would be, like, on stage? Well, I really, really wish it would have been. Instead, they do this awkward TikTok / like normal video style collage of not good lookingness. Almost every time there's more than like one person in a scene, they just kind of slap them up in vertical and put this really ugly background behind it. And then the choreography itself is also done like vertically by only like 2 people, and it just really doesn't look good. It's not like a big group of people dancing, it's just like 2 people with various effects on them, and it just looks weird, and it doesn't really feel natural to a musical at all. But speaking of things that don't feel natural, let's talk about the dialogue. So, you know how I said I really like the songs, and I think they do a really good job of, like, telling the story while also just being, like, fun and entertaining songs? Well, the dialogue is nothing like that. And granted, part of this is due to it not being on a stage, because you can't pull off stage acting while not on a stage. If you've ever been in a musical or any play at all, then you know that a lot of line delivery and acting ability comes from playing off of the people around you. You feel out the space and you see how they're acting and how they're saying the lines, and then you build off of that. The stage becomes your mini world, and all you have are the small sets and the people around you. Stage acting, unlike pretty much all other acting like movies or shows or even voice acting, relies pretty much solely on the people on stage in the moment, and you can't just do that in this situation. Half the dialogue is delivered fine, it's not like atrocious or anything. Like, these people can still act, but they're just saying these lines into the abyss, and you can tell. Especially when they're talking to each other and not just the audience, which honestly doesn't happen that much, but we'll get to that later. They just feel so disconnected. There's no room for chemistry, no room for really what makes stage acting itself really special to be a part of and to watch. And that combined with like the really, really bad editing gets you stuff like this.
Trash, 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 and it stinks. Ugh, wait. Is that Nutella or Grey Poupon?
You can smell all of that?
With just awkward silence and no chemistry between the actors. And yes, the editing is this bad throughout, especially with the effects and stuff. I honestly, barely can't understand a thing Phantom Gusto says because of this stupid effect that doesn't even make sense in the context of, Phantom Gusto in the movie.
If you are hungry, go up and look around, Remy, while we can move.
So, the dialogue is pretty awkward and blocky most of the time when it's more than one person. But what about when it's just Remy monologuing? Oh, that's fine. He does a good job delivering all of it and practically carries the whole show, except he monologues the whole freaking show. And I'm all for some well-paced exposition and monologues. I think they can be great, but pretty much 90% of the story itself is communicated to us just by Remy saying that it's happening. Now, a lot of this is caused by, again, the fact that they don't have an actual stage. They have nothing physical, so they can't communicate by showing you anything, so they just have to tell you. But this exposition is so clunky, and it's for, the whole story. Especially once Remy gets to Paris, which is, the main part of the story. It's just this happened, and then this happened, and then he felt this way, and then I did this.
There was so much that happened from that day with Colette in the kitchen. I finally taught Linguini how to cook like a real French chef. Tug of his hair here, tug of his hair there, and he got to bang it out. At first, Linguini didn't trust me. But pretty soon, we were two peas in a pod, or a man and a rat under his hat. It's like puppetry, or cooking, or mind control, or you pick.
And it doesn't work well to tell the story in a way that's interesting to watch, at all. But wait, there's more. Now, this is an adaptation. It's a changing of medium from movie to stage, and in order to do that, you typically do have to make some changes to work best for the medium you have, and I'm all for that. I would rather have a drastically different story that works great on stage than a weird straight retelling of a story that we already have in a better medium for that story. But the changes to the story, they don't really make it work better for stage. They just kind of make the story work less.
You think cooking is a cute job, huh? Like mommy in the kitchen. No, mommy never had to fix the dinner rush.
So there are two main things I want to bring up as changes to the story that I don't really think work well for the story of Ratatouille, at all. Then some smaller ones, if I can think of any, the rat colony never being found out, and Remy just being oops, somehow I managed to fall down the sewer for no good reason, and now I can never, ever just climb back to my family, who I will now never see ever again. Oh well. But the first major change to the story that I want to bring up is Colette and Remy. Now, a lot of the original Ratatouille's conflict comes from the balance of the relationship between Remy, Linguini, and Colette. Remy thinks he knows best, and that he shouldn't trust Colette's advice, as where Linguini likes Colette and knows that she's successful and wants to take her advice, and Colette knows something is off, but also likes Linguini and wants him to succeed. It gives conflict to the story, a good conflict that pays off first with their relationship and later when Remy is revealed to all the chefs and Colette is the only one to come back. It adds a lot of layers to the story and helps Linguini grow and shows why Remy needs to change and actually gives a good reason for Remy to be mad enough to bring his whole family to steal food. But in this shortened 1 hour musical, when Linguini is questioned by Colette to why he doesn't listen to her, he just tells her about Remy, and she's just like, okay, I guess we're in love, which kills the major conflict and like the growing of the characters. In the musical, it's pretty much just like one press conference where Linguini doesn't say to the world, yes, all of my recipes were actually brought to you by a rat who sits in my toga and pulls at my hair. And then Remy gets mad enough that he completely betrays the trust of his only friend and, like the only person who is helping him live out his one dream in life. It makes Remy seem super selfish and super egotistical, which, he is kind of in the movie, but not to really this extreme, and with no reason to really change. He's just there in the end with his family, even though he hasn't really had any character growth. And without that growth, you don't really have these characters, this happy, well-working group that you have by the end of the movie, all running a restaurant together, just wouldn't happen because Remy still couldn't handle them taking credit for his food. But the other major change that doesn't work actually plays into this as well. In the movie, there are essentially 3 major conflicts which our characters must face. The relationship of the 3 of them, which the musicals cut out, Ego coming to review the restaurant, which they focus on, and Chef Skinner's plan with hiding who Linguini is and the whole frozen foods thing. Now, while this is one of the more weird and wacky of the major 3 conflicts of the movie, it still adds a lot to the story. It adds a main antagonist, really, to the story, someone who actually gives conflict to Remy and Linguini as a team and tries to keep them from owning Gusteau's. And while this conflict isn't nearly as important as the relationship of the 3 of them or as Ego coming, it is important for the next most important thing to Remy: family. When Remy is at his lowest of lows, when he doesn't have his family with him, he's been kicked out by his only friend, and he gets captured by this constant thorn in his side, Skinner. Who's there after all of their disagreeing, all of their fights? His family. His dad accepting that this is what his son wants to do with his life, and that he's really good at it, after seeing Remy with Linguini, and Linguini genuinely feeling bad about what he did because they're friends. His family finally accepts him. So now, with his selfish lesson learned and his family at his side, he can finally go back and make the perfect dish for Ego. Something that reminds Ego of family. Family is just as big of a conflict and a reason for the story to happen as food or as his friendship with Linguini. And without Skinner here to propel the story as an antagonist, the press just find out about Linguini's parentage, and his family are just yeah, sure, we'll help out now because. And both of these ultimately flatten the main thing that they do focus on, which is Ego. Because our characters no longer have any emotional stakes in Ego reviewing. It's just oh boy, I hope we get a good review because, nobody else thinks it's a good idea to have a rat cooking in the kitchen. And this actually bothers me way more than bad editing or bad backgrounds or weird dialogue, and none of that even compares to this. They took out pretty much what was the heart of the story and just kind of ripped it out, leaving half the heart, but it doesn't really feel anywhere near as much anymore. But wait, did you say that I gave this a like on Letterboxd? Didn't I leave a long review on there trying to defend it? And to that I say yes. Yes, I did. And I would do it again. Now, despite all of the stuff I just said and all of the quote unquote bad, I really liked this musical for what it is. I liked it for its good songs and its good actors and the love and care that was put into it. It's not a good stage musical and it's not a good adaptation, but it's an amazing project that I'm still just dumbfounded that it even exists. A ton of people on Letterboxd left horrible reviews for this before it even came out, saying, I can't believe they're making it. TikTok is so gross. I can't believe that it's touching this masterpiece of a movie, turning themselves and probably other people off to it before they even watched it. And in doing that, everyone, myself included, got so caught up in the criticism of it that we kind of forgot to look at it for what it is. Yeah, it's from TikTok, and I really dislike TikTok and half the content that comes out of it. Yeah, it looks terrible, and the dialogue is clunky, and the story is cut way down, like just way too much. But it's a chance for young creators to come together and to work on their passions and have a stage where they never could have before, and to help actors who have been out of jobs since COVID. I would have helped work on this musical in a heartbeat. I think it needed to be given structure and better writing and better editing, and I would have loved to do that even though it's a TikTok musical, because I'm passionate about writing and storytelling, and I love Ratatouille. So many young creators on the internet, and especially on YouTube, me included, are giving ourselves platforms to make our opinions public, or maybe to make a short film, or even a feature-length one, because it's what we love. That's what we're passionate about. But a lot of people don't have the resources to do that. They could write a million great songs that no one would ever hear. They could come up with a million stories that no one would ever read. They could be an incredible actor, and no one could ever let them act. The entertainment business is one of the hardest things in the world to get into, and especially hard to be successful. And this stupid, low-budget, rushed musical about a rat in a kitchen gave so many people a platform to show their work and inspiration for the fact that they can actually do it. They can be successful because thousands of people just watched Wayne Brady sing their song. It's something so powerful to give people a chance, that hope, to connect people with other creators and people who do have the resources so they can help make people's dreams come true. Anyone can cook, and a great cook can come from anywhere, even a platform that puts out millions of cringy videos and tons of false information every day. As many problems that there are in it, and as much as I don't like that TikTok's name is on it, you can't deny that it's amazing that it got made, and kind of funny that the movie about greatness coming from anywhere, and about criticism sometimes not allowing truly special and new things to shine, would get adapted from a place that nobody expected, and so many film bros and cinephiles immediately got turned off to it because of its origins. So yeah, I really like Ratatouille the TikTok musical. With all of its flaws and imperfections and origins that I don't like, I will fully endorse it because it's giving a platform to people like me, who just want to live out our dreams.
In many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy a position over those who offer up their work and themselves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics
must face is that the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designates it so. But the world can often be unkind to new talent, new creations. The new needs friends. Last night, I experienced something new, an extraordinary meal from a singularly unexpected source. I now know.
Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere. It is difficult to imagine more humble origins than those of the genius now cooking at Gusto's, who is, in this critic's opinion, nothing less than the finest chef in France. I will be returning to Gusto's soon, hungry for more.
Thanks for watching, and thanks to all the people who worked on this for making a fun musical. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope your dreams come true, and I hope that you've inspired people by what you've done. I have a huge video coming up that I'm super excited about, and don't forget to subscribe because I'm having a giveaway that will only happen if we get to 100 subscribers. For more information on that, check out my Soul Review video, go follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and check out my Over the Garden Wall video, it's apparently really popular, and have an amazing February.